Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is the Ninja Knight coming at you. Please like, share and subscribe this video. Thank you. So today we have an article from Bleeding Phil. So Bleeding Phil, and it's written by Ichibaka. So Ichibaka comes from the website Disney Star Wars is Dumb. Fantastic. I love it. So the Russo brothers would have focused on Luke Skywalker and Star Wars sequels. You're seeing an awful lot of this now. You're seeing people backpedaling. The Russo brothers, for anyone who doesn't know, they're involved with the Avengers. They made Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and then they progressed on then to make the Infinity War and Endgame. They did a good job. Not a fantastic job. I thought Infinity War was a better film than Endgame. I think I'll do a video on that later. But there was flaws in that Endgame, in my opinion. So this is pretty standard stuff, and what you're seeing at Disney now is we've seen a culture in the last couple of years where they just want to degrade everything that Luke Skywalker himself done. It's a very bizarre situation, given the fact that Mark Hamill himself actually reprised the role of Luke Skywalker on 3 occasions for them in very poor movies, which I think he could have walked away from, and maybe would have been sensible to do so, especially with the second one. The second one was just so bad in The Last Jedi. It really tarnished his legacy. And afterwards then he obviously was told to stop talking about it, and it really shows in the third movie where I think he was given something like 30 seconds or a minute and 40 seconds worth of screen time, given it's a Skywalker saga, with the last movie having nothing really to do with any Skywalkers. So we go on to see here, ComingSoon.net published the following from a recent interview with the Russo brothers. So ComingSoon.net says, and in terms of your Empire Strikes Back episode, it brought up something that has always kind of bugged me about Star Wars, which is that I feel like in the prequels, sort of the choice that Anakin has to make, where he's choosing between the Jedi and saving the woman he loves, it's a compelling choice. It's absolutely a compelling choice, because a lot of people gloss over the fact that Anakin makes a huge decision to turn against the Jedi, basically to save Padme. The Jedi kind of turn him down and say they just keep knocking him back and knocking him back and knocking him back, and Palpatine offers him this power that he can use. So Anakin turns, and he turns when he sees Mace Windu literally going to try and kill uh, Emperor Palpatine, at the time Senator Palpatine. So it makes Anakin's mind up very quickly, because in his opinion the Jedi have looked evil from a compelling amount of time. So it's a wrenching choice, but in both the original trilogy and the new trilogy that just came out, I feel like Luke and Rey, they're basically being offered a power grab. Bit different. Luke in his movies certainly has to train throughout them, and that's something that Rey doesn't show. In episode 1, I suppose for the people that would have watched it originally, so for those people at Star Wars and New Hope, if Luke had came out of the gates and had beaten Vader, or for example if Obi-Wan Kenobi had beaten Vader convincingly without any training, you wouldn't have taken Darth Vader very seriously whatsoever. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what happened with The Force Awakens. Rey came out of the gate with absolutely no training against a guy who was very highly trained and still beat him. It totally undermines your villain before you even start. And you're going to start a new trilogy with this villain. It's just not good. Luke doesn't face Vader in the Force, and Kenobi's overwhelmed by him. In the second movie, Luke is beaten very badly by Vader, and in the third movie, Luke beats Vader. So it's a gradual journey. Where's the threat with Kylo Ren after the Force movie? You can't feel it with Rey. It's impossible. They're basically being offered a power grab. I would definitely disagree with that, because Rey is just all powerful throughout. It's just very clear to see. Rule the universe with me. Okay, I think this person is trying to talk about The Last Jedi, when Kylo Ren offered his hands to Rey and she just said nah. So not really the same thing versus Vader saying join with me and they'll rule together, because he knew in future Luke might beat him, but at that time he could have whipped Luke and just taken him out of there. And it's pretty anathema to both of the characters. There's never really a feeling like these guys are actually going to go for that. That's not true. It's certainly not true. In the Return of the Jedi, it certainly looks like that at some stage that Luke might actually turn, and that's why it symbolises with his uniform that when he's wearing black through the film, and then near the end, then the flap is open and it shows kind of a light grey white colour. It shows that the light was always inside him. It's very solid in imagery from my point of view. Whereas with Rey, I don't think we ever felt that the situation that she was going to go bad, but other than that hissing weird mirror room that she walked into and had a hissing version of herself that looked like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Very odd imagery, I thought, from the Disney sequel trilogy. And I wanted to get your take on that. What would you have done differently? Anthony says, well, and Joe cuts across him. Joe's like, okay, right, I'll step in here. Joe says, I mean, I think being such Star Wars fanatics, we would have probably focused on the Luke Skywalker story. Absolutely. I mean, that's the story that everyone wanted to see. Everyone wanted to see what happened to Luke after the fact. Everyone wanted to see how his story carried on. They didn't want to see the story of new characters just yet. You know, in my opinion, I would have done 7, 8, and 9 with Luke and then handed the baton over then to someone else like Kylo Ren or even Finn. I think Finn had a good story that they just totally wasted. And so, to me, there was the potential for 3 movies focusing on that arc coming to completion. Definitely, definitely. But different choices you can make. I think, you know, the fact that Star Wars is so important to us growing up, we got to make our Star Wars Empire in Infinity War and Endgame. Yeah, that's fair. Thanos is definitely an excellent villain, specifically in Infinity War. I mean, he's shown that he can really beat the heroes by the end of it, and he does it very convincingly. I mean, the Force scene sets up how hard he is when he beats the Hulk and just takes the Hulk out, no problem. It goes to show really how tough a villain he is. And then again, to an Endgame, it basically comes down to Iron Man having a slice of luck, really, to beating him, because at that stage he was looked like he was going to win again. So hats off to him on that one. That was really our expression of what those commercial films meant to us as children and what we took away from them, and the patterns of narrative structure that were so profound to us. We were able to replicate those patterns in those movies. So I think we speak to those films rather than the Star Wars films. So they're trying to stay away from it a little bit too. You know, you're seeing there, that brings into mind the potential forgotten camp and any internal Lucas Civil War, which is Kevin Feige. So Kevin Feige has said that he wants to move over to Star Wars, and he said that he's a big Star Wars fan, but I'd be very curious to see what he does next, because he's a big fan of Brie Larson, and that's an individual that needs to stay as far away from Star Wars as possible. Star Wars is in a very precarious moment where The Mandalorian was successful, but going forward, they really need to do something about it. I mean, they've announced the Bad Batch, which is good for fans, but they've brought in this person, Leslie Headland. They've brought in Taika Waititi, who's caused absolute mayhem now with the Thor universe. He's turned Thor into a joke, and he's also said then that he's going to make a female Thor going forward for Thor: Love and Thunder. It's not looking good for the MCU unless they dial these people back, and I think they're going to have to. They can't sustain this woke ideology anymore, because it's just going to flatten any sort of box office sales or merchandise sales that they'll have. The sequel trilogy itself, we've seen Gentle Giant come out and say, look, nobody wants the new product anymore, and that's pretty evident, with all of it sitting on the shelves and going to deep discounts. I've never seen Star Wars items going to deep discount, but I've certainly seen it with the sequel trilogy stuff. I hope Star Wars bounces back. I hope it gets into the hands of Jon Favreau. I think he's the one that can bring it back. I think he's essentially the chosen one for Star Wars. So I really hope it goes from there. But comments like these from the Russo brothers to follow Luke Skywalker, it's a no-brainer. It's what they should have done. They should have. I think I'll cover another video of what I think they should have done with the trilogy, but it's definitely a no-brainer from their point of view that Luke Skywalker was the man to follow. And obviously Princess Leia and Han Solo, and that's who people wanted to see after all these years. That's what George floated as an idea for the sequel trilogy, but Disney decided to go another way, and it just didn't work out. And when you alienate an awful lot of fans after The Last Jedi, it's no surprise that you're seeing prominent filmmakers like these guys coming out and saying, well, Luke Skywalker was the man to go with. So I hope you like this video. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.